I have nowhere else to go. The words trembled out of Clara Whitlock's cold, cracked lips as she stood on the edge of the vast Montana plains, clutching the single suitcase that held everything she had left after. The train conductor practically pushed her off at the lonely, snow-dusted station 3 miles behind her, and Jacob Rourke, the rancher the territory called the loneliest man alive, stood framed in the golden spill of lamplight from his cabin doorway, staring at her like a ghost had risen from the wind. He hadn't ordered a bride, not anymore. Not since the last one who backed out left him feeling foolish and unworthy. But here she was, this fragile, fierce young woman with eyes that looked like they'd memorized suffering, telling him she had nowhere to go, and in that moment, something deep inside him, the part that still remembered warmth, shifted. He told her she could come in for the night, just until the morning train comes. But even he knew the next train wasn't until Thursday, and the storm rolling in over the ridge would bury every road in powder, and Clara knew it too as she stepped inside the cabin. The heat from the wood stove swallowing her shivers, while she tried to hide the bruised ache of travel, the disappointment of a man who had rejected her before she even arrived, and the fear of a future more uncertain than the winter sky. Jacob watched her peel off the thin gloves that were no match for Montana winter, and he felt something unfamiliar, a need to protect instead of retreat, to ask instead of assume, so he poured her hot coffee and asked why she'd signed up to be a mail-order bride in the first place. Clara hesitated, then confessed in a voice barely stronger than the wind against the windows that she wasn't running from a man, but from a life that had decided she wasn't worth loving, that after her mother died, after her father remarried someone who wanted her gone, after opportunities dried like riverbeds in July, she'd taken the chance to start fresh where no one knew her history, and Jacob, listening in silence, felt every word like a hammer tapping an old wound, for he too had lived a life where loss taught him to close every door before someone else slammed it. Yet as the night deepened and the storm roared like a train that would never arrive, something softened between them. The way she folded her hands when she talked, the way he finally smiled. When she told him she liked the smell of cedar in his cabin, the way both of them could sit without speaking yet not feel alone. By midnight, when thunder cracked over the valley and the wind rattled the shutters, Jacob found himself pulling out the spare quilt his mother had sewn long before grief hollowed out his home, and he laid it gently on the small cot by the fire for Clara, telling her she'd be safe here, telling her she didn't have to be afraid anymore. But Clara wasn't afraid of the storm. She was afraid of the calm she felt around him, afraid of wanting to stay when morning was supposed to be her escape. And as she watched Jacob stoke the fire, the orange light painting strength over his rough, solitary face, she realized something dangerous. The loneliest man in Montana didn't look lonely tonight. He looked alive, as if sheltering her had awakened something he thought was long buried. Morning came soft and white, the entire ranch wrapped in a blanket of fresh snow, the world impossibly quiet, except for Clara's heartbeat, as she stepped outside and saw the drift piled higher than the fence posts, and Jacob came behind her, rubbing the back of his neck, saying, "Road's gone. Can't get you to the station until it melts." But there was a question hidden in his tone, one he didn't know how to ask. "Do you want to leave?" Clara looked at the endless white stretching toward the horizon, then at the warm cabin behind her, then at the man beside her who smelled like pine and smoke and safety, and she whispered something that changed everything. Maybe I don't want to go." And in that instant, the cold didn't matter, the storm didn't matter, the past didn't matter. What mattered was that two people who had been abandoned by life found, in each other, a reason to stay, a reason to hope, a reason to believe that loneliness isn't a sentence but a season. And as Clara stepped toward Jacob as his hand brushed hers, as the fire crackled from inside and the sky turned the color of new beginnings, she murmured with a wobbly smile, "If you want to hear the rest of our story, you'll have to stay with us," turning toward the invisible audience as if speaking across time. "So don't forget to subscribe, because this is only the beginning, and you won't want to miss what happens next."